Please open your Bible and read the passage with me. Acts 16, 9 through 15. During the night, Paul had a vision. There stood a man of Macedonia pleading with him and saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." When he had seen the vision, we immediately tried to cross over to Macedonia, being convinced that God had called us to proclaim the good news to them. We set sail from Troas and took a straight course to Samothrace. The following day to Neapolis, which is the leading city of the district of Macedonia and a Roman colony. We remained in this city for some days. On the Sabbath day, we went outside the gate by the river, where we supposed there was a place of prayer. And we sat down and spoke to a woman who gathered there. A certain woman named Lydia, a worshiper of God, was listening to us. She was from the city of Thyatira and a dealer in purple cloth. The Lord opened her heart to listen eagerly to what was said by Paul. When she and her household were baptized, she urged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be faithful to the Lord, come and stay at my home." And she prevailed upon us. This is the word of the Lord. Please keep your Bible open as I will be referring to the story. When I read this passage, I realized there was a lot of talk about openness. In the passage, there were some points of openness, that things that were happening, or where God opened someone to do something. Paul was open to going to Macedonia. The call that God sent was kind of weird. There might be people who would not have been open to this call. You might feel like you were seeing things or not right in the head, or maybe you had eaten something wrong. So being open to this might have felt strange, but sometimes God works in strange ways. Lydia was open to the word that Paul brought. God opened Lydia to the good news. Lydia was already worshiping God, but she hadn't heard about Jesus yet. God helped her to be open about hearing about Jesus. God continues to help people be open to the good news. Sometimes people agree with God, and sometimes they don't. Lydia opened her house to Paul and the others. Being open to others in the family of God is important. This is a key part of following Jesus and being open to God, that we are open to others in the family of God. We are called to be open in confirmation. We have all been baptized, but today we are confirming the vows that our parents took for us when we were younger. It takes openness to do this. We have had to be open through class to learn many different views. We have learned to be open to new people and open to the new changes in the congregation. We are open to becoming members of the church, and we have opened ourselves to God. When God calls, we are called to be open to what God is saying. This is not always easy, and people are not always open to God. We have to open ourselves to new choices and new opportunities. We have to open ourselves to God's call. I was called to be a pastor at a very young age. Some people don't hear God's call until much later in life. I am trying to be open to God, and that is why I'm standing here today, trying to follow where God is calling me. God calls us to do different things. Sometimes they're not things that we want to do. It isn't easy to follow God. Sometimes we just say no. But being open to God will lead us to a good life. We, the members of the confirmation class, are presenting ourselves before you today and saying we are open to what God is doing in our lives. We are ready to make this commitment. In making this commitment, we are saying we are open to you, God. We are open to the call of the church. We know that becoming a member means that we will have work to do. We are open to what the church calls us to do and expects of us. We are bringing gifts to the church. We have ideas, and sometimes they're different than what other people in the church have thought before. We hope and pray that as we are open to the church and to God, that the church will be open to what God is doing in our lives. We hope that you will be open to the ideas and imagination we bring, because it is God who has called us to this day. We are open, and we ask you to be open to what God is calling us to join in the church.